whispering shadows in the woods. Amidst the dense woods, the sunlight filtered through the thick canopy, casting a dappled pattern on the forest floor. A group of adventurous Boy Scouts, eager for a thrilling excursion, set out on a hiking trip deep into the heart of the wilderness. Excitement filled the air as they followed the winding trails, their youthful enthusiasm masking the ominous presence lurking nearby. As they ventured further into the woods, the atmosphere grew increasingly eerie. The sounds of rustling leaves and distant animal calls seemed to be accompanied by a haunting whisper that sent shivers down their spines. Unbeknownst to the Boy Scouts, a serial killer with a penchant for preying on unsuspecting wanderers have chosen these very woods as his hunting ground. As nightfall approached, the Boy Scouts set up their camp, their laughter and camaraderie echoing through the trees. But the shadows that danced around the flickering campfire seemed to harbor a darker secret. In the darkness of the night, the maniacal killer observed the camp from a distance, his eyes gleaming with a sinister hunger. He had honed his skills over time, learning to blend into the wilderness like a predator stalking its prey. Under the cover of darkness, he crept closer to the camp, his stealthy approach unnoticed by the sleeping Boy Scouts. With a twisted smile, he reveled in the fear that emanated from them, knowing that their terror would fuel his sadistic desires. As the night wore on, one of the Boy Scouts awoke to the sound of footsteps, his senses on high alert. He peered into the darkness, heart pounding in his chest, and saw a figure lurking just beyond the glow of the dying campfire. Panic surged through him as he realized the danger that surrounded them. With trembling hands, he woke his fellow scouts, urging them to stay quiet and alert. The tension in the air was palpable as they huddled together, trying to stay hidden from the lurking predator. As the hours passed, the killer played a cat-and-mouse game with the Boy Scouts, toying with their fear and vulnerability. The forest seemed to close in around them, becoming a labyrinth of shadows and nightmares. In the end, they managed to evade the maniacal killer's grasp, but the harrowing encounter left them forever scarred. The once bold Boy Scouts were now haunted by the horrors they had witnessed in the dark heart of the woods. Their excursion into the wilderness had turned into a chilling tale of survival and terror, forever etched in their memories. Whispering shadows in the abandoned asylum. In the outskirts of town, a sprawling abandoned asylum loomed over the landscape, its crumbling facade a haunting reminder of its dark past. A group of intrepid Boy Scouts, seeking adventure, decided to explore the decaying structure on their hiking trip. Eager to uncover its secrets, they ventured into the eerie asylum, unaware of the malevolent presence that awaited them. Inside, the asylum's corridors were shrouded in darkness, the faint glow of their flashlights revealing only glimpses of the foreboding interior. The air was heavy with an oppressive silence, broken only by the echo of their footsteps and the distant howling wind. As they delved deeper into the asylum's depths, the sense of unease grew, and the Boy Scouts couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Unbeknownst to them, a serial killer had made the forsaken asylum his lair, relishing in the isolation and desolation it provided. As the night settled in, the Boy Scouts found a small room to set up camp, their nerves on edge. The asylum's history whispered in the shadows, a haunting symphony of forgotten torment and suffering. The killer, hidden among the dilapidated walls, watched the Boy Scouts intently. His eyes gleamed with a sinister pleasure as he prepared to unleash his sadistic desires upon his unsuspecting prey. As the Boy Scouts settled down to rest, a creaking sound echoed through the asylum, setting their hearts racing. Fear gripped them as they realized they were not alone in the abandoned building. One of the Boy Scouts, unable to bear the oppressive silence, ventured out to explore the asylum further. He clutched his flashlight tightly, trying to dispel the suffocating darkness around him. But the beam of light seemed to illuminate only the decay and despair that surrounded him. As he wandered deeper into the asylum's labyrinthine corridors, a chilling sight met his eyes. The killer stood before him, a menacing grin on his face, reveling in the terror he instilled. Panicking, the Boy Scout tried to flee, but the asylum seemed to shift and twist, disorienting him at every turn. The killer's cold laughter echoed through the halls, his sadistic pleasure driving the Boy Scout to the brink of madness. The rest of the group, alerted by the commotion, rushed to find their friend. They navigated the maze-like structure, their desperation growing with each passing moment. The asylum seemed to have a life of its own, thwarting their attempts to escape. In the end, they managed to rescue their friend from the clutches of the maniacal killer, but the encounter left them scarred and forever changed. The abandoned asylum had become a nightmarish chamber of horrors, haunting their memories long after they had escaped its grasp. The haunting melody. In a quaint and secluded village, nestled deep within the mountains, an old mansion stood in solemn silence. Its grandeur had faded with time, and the villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, wary of the airy aura that surrounded the place. A group of curious Boy Scouts, drawn by the mysteries whispered in the wind, decided to explore the haunted mansion on their camping trip. As they approached the mansion, the air seemed to grow colder, and the once vibrant foliage around it withered under an invisible weight. The mansion's towering presence loomed over them, its ornate architecture and faded splendor evoking a sense of foreboding. As they ventured inside, the Boy Scouts were greeted by an eerie stillness. The mansion's interior was frozen in time, filled with forgotten relics and remnants of the past. Faded portraits stared down at them, their eyes following their every move, and ancient cobwebs draped the corners of the rooms like delicate shrouds. The Boy Scouts couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes were tracking their every step. Unbeknownst to them, a disturbed and vengeful spirit had taken residence within the mansion's walls, yearning to break free from its eternal torment. As the night descended, the Boy Scouts decided to set up camp inside the mansion, daring to test their courage against the chilling legends. Their laughter echoed through the hallways, but their mirth was met with the haunting sound of a melancholic melody that seemed to drift from the shadows. Intrigued and apprehensive, they followed the haunting tune, which led them to an ancient music room hidden away on the upper floor. The room was adorned with broken instruments and faded sheet music, the remnants of a past long forgotten. As they stood in the music room, the melody intensified, filling the air with a mournful lament. It was as if the very walls were weeping with sorrow, and the Boy Scouts felt an overwhelming sense of sadness engulf them. One of the Boy Scouts, captivated by the haunting melody, felt a sudden compulsion to play the abandoned piano in the corner of the room. His fingers trembled as he struck the keys, and the sound that emanated was both beautiful and chilling. With each note he played, the spirit's presence grew stronger, its ethereal form materializing before them. Its eyes were pools of sorrow and anger, and it was clear that it yearned for release from its spectral existence. Terrified, the Boy Scouts tried to escape, but the mansion seemed to have trapped them within its walls. The spirit's vengeful rage escalated, and the once beautiful melody transformed into a cacophony of torment. In the end, they managed to find a way to appease the restless spirit, freeing it from its eternal torment. As the mansion fell silent once more, the Boy Scouts retreated, forever haunted by the haunting melody that had changed their lives. Thank you for embarking on this chilling journey through horror with us. If you crave more spine-tingling stories, bone-chilling encounters, and hair-raising adventures, don't forget to explore the other related videos on our channel. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all our terrifying tales. Until we meet again, stay fearful and goodbye.